All right, beautiful people, man. Good evening to you. Hopefully, we don't have any technical issues like we did earlier this morning. So, just want to do a quick check, make sure that I'm coming in as far as you guys can hear me and see me. We got a special broadcast here tonight where we're going to have some, I guess you can say, some crypto Friday night discussion, man, here on our Money Talk session. I got a brother here who, I respect in this space and wanted to see if we can have him come on and talk to us a little bit about specifically liquidation and mining, but we'll be talking about crypto. And of course, you guys have any questions as we discuss and talk, man, feel free to chime in with in the conversation, man. While you guys are connecting, go and let us know where you're connecting from, what city, what state, what country that you might be connected from. Hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, all that good stuff as well. I'm your host, ERGJ, certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, the Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. And of course, have been heavily into crypto, teaching crypto, and leading people to financial freedom. Getting out of debt, getting rich, and building wealth is what we're doing. Crypto is a vehicle that we're using to get there, along with other vehicles as well. So love to just see you guys become financially free. I think this is a huge opportunity, to be a part of something, an emerging market, and to take advantage of a market in a way in which we probably haven't done in our lifetime. So, but the thing about opportunity is to be able to take advantage of it as well. So anyway, Pensacola, Florida, what's going on with your brother? Millie is in the house, man. Good evening to your brother. Millie is in the house as well from Houston, Texas. So good. Looks like I am coming in good, fine, and all that good stuff. And we are going to, let me just check 1 second real quick. All right, cool. So we're going to dive right into this thing here tonight, man. Let me bring my brother Trey Padgett, man, is in the building. We discuss and talk money, crypto, financial stuff all the time. And, we got the thing scheduled. So he's finally been able to come back and join us. It's been a probably about 6 months, I think, since we had our last combo. So I appreciate you taking the time to be with us here tonight, man. What's going on, brother Trey?
Oh man, just enjoying what's left of today. It's been like I said, talking, before the show, it's been a busy past few months getting a new business off the ground, and just stay busy with the mining upkeep in particular. A lot of paying attention to the markets and things and the news. I mean, the news just really fuels this market right now. The other day when we had the big sell-off, everybody just wants to panic over what's happening. And at the end of the day, people are asking me constantly. I'm like, well, I think that's a pretty good indication of just how much really smart money is in this market. Because that was either one massive institution or a conglomerate of institutions and people. There's no way you can move off hundreds of billions in a matter of, it was a minute and 30 something seconds for the majority of the drop, and the rest took place over the course of about an hour. And there's no way somebody was able to panic and respond that quickly. And they definitely didn't have, their stops in place. The majority didn't have their stops in place. And so, forced them into, liquidation, like you were saying. And, it's part of it. It's part of the growth within the space. And as much as I'd like for this to have been, the people's money, where, we're looking at a situation that, it is, quote unquote, decentralized in the aspect of, there's no central bank, but when they own what I suspect they own, they can pretty well control you still. So, I would imagine that in the future, we're going to see replacements. Every year the market gets bigger. I mean, this year it's more than 6 times larger than it was back in 2017. So, it's going to take a lot of growth and development. It takes time to implement this infrastructure. But in time, Monero, for instance, right now, is the only thing that I know of that could very well just be completely untraceable. And, it's pretty much banned, on all 7 continents. Penguins can't even use it. So not within, which you can. There's ways around it, but that's a completely different conversation.
Well, I appreciate you definitely taking the time to be here, man. Let me ask you a question, Trey. Obviously, want to definitely kind of get you introduced, and then we'll have this crypto talk, man. Tell us a little bit about who you are in this crypto space. How long you've been, how long? When did you first get introduced into crypto? How long you've been in it, and what really caught your attention? What really grabbed you to say, you know what, this could actually be something?
All right. Well, it actually all started for me. I live here in Lexington, South Carolina. It started for me. I had a cousin who, oddly enough, he's now the head of like cybersecurity, internet security for the public school system here in the state. And back when we were younger, go around for Christmas and Thanksgiving or whatever, hey, let me show you this. He was always into the games and things. And, first time I heard about Bitcoin, it was sub 10 cents, and he was mining Bitcoin back then. And I was like, oh, at the time I just associated it to the game. And fast forward, a few years, and he's kind of described this thing to me. And finally in 2013, I was like, okay, I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. And then one day, this stuff just kind of starts to develop. And I'm like, at that point I had researched enough to know what the functionality was and the benefit ultimately. And so it ended up, I bought my first full Bitcoin in the development phase as far as price or value is concerned. I think it was $367. So I've been in it for some time now. And what we're seeing right now is these market cycles, and cycles tend to lengthen, things of that nature. It's nothing new to me. And people ask, do you panic? No, I don't panic. Not at this point. I understand why people do, but it's been especially since the cat's out of the bag. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this all been great for the space, because there's been a lot of like the BitConnect, Mount Gox, things of that nature that were learning curves, learning for spam possibilities, scam possibilities, to just plain thievery. And so, a lot of that will weed itself out due to the technology. But in time, it's always best come here and, get research. Because I don't know how many heads in this conversation right now, but it's better than one. And, you have people that can consider kind of every avenue that you can possibly come up with. And that's what it's going to take. The same thing that's happening with these developers right now, with the apps and different things. They're trying to find any way they can to better the situation. And, in time, all that will come to fruition. And, it's really accelerated. It is really accelerated within the last year. There are more Bitcoin ATMs near me than there are, actual banking ATMs. And just in the town that I live in, we were talking about before, went live, I think just a few years ago, it was like 24,000 people, and now it's up near 80,000 people. So, and there are plenty of opportunities to have brick and mortar banks. No one uses them anymore. So, or not as they use them, but I'm saying that, convenience wise, nothing tops crypto right now. And now with crypto.com, doing the things they're doing, it's inevitable. The writing's on the wall, and people still, they close their eyes, and you're like, man, what does it take? So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting ride here in the next 3 or 4 years.
Well, let me ask this. Obviously, you've been in crypto for almost a decade now, in a sense. I mean, you're getting close to a decade.
Yeah, 9 years in April.
Yeah, 9 years in April. And obviously, you've been through highs and lows. You went through the 2013, 2017, and obviously kind of going through our retracement right now.
Right.
And we have some new people in the space who kind of just got started or getting started or whatever the case may be, and they're now dealing with maybe coming in very hopeful, but then having some short-term volatility which could diminish their hopes or bring in fear. What would be some things that you would say to those who kind of just got started, who haven't gone through those cycles yet?
It's because it's different for every individual. I can speak for me. 2017 to 2016 build up to 2017 was definitely the worst, because that was the first time where you see like, oh man, I'm holding on to this, and I went from this, it was about $760 or so when the run really started to just make its climb. And it did it in a hurry as far as I was concerned. And I was like, geez, what do I do here? And so I sold some because I was like, man, I don't want to be standing here holding the bag and I don't know what this thing's going to do. Well, even before 2013, if you look at it from just a completely, macro perspective, and you zoom in to time periods before that, these trends have always been the same or really close to it. So that would be my thing is like, hey, if right now, if you bought the peak or the local peak, hang in there. Like, I got to the point where, it was like, hey, here's what I'm going to do every week. I'm going to put in X amount of dollars. And the next thing I knew, I was like, 2017, I was like, man, when I sold off, that was when I really got into mining myself. And, of course I went which I've had some S9 ant miners and, a lot of different other things, but I went from there into GPU mining or graphic card mining, and the utility there, it just made more sense from an investment standpoint, return on investment standpoint, with specified or specific mining. You've only got a narrow window for how long. I've got graphics cards right now that are 4.5, 5 years old. And, I had to have somebody teach me or show me. And then I was like, you know what, I'll pay you to do it. And, so they took over, really all of those duties. And over time, man, they just keep those things humming along, and it's what the crypto market's going to do. It's going to keep humming along. Right now, it's business as usual. It is, and unfortunately, if people can't stomach it, you're gonna, I would almost guarantee you that you're going to lose. And then it'll be another one of those situations that shoulda, coulda, woulda, I wish I hadda, and you hear it all the time. You can go around and ask anybody who's nearing retirement, if I had done this back when I had the opportunity, here's your opportunity. Opportunity's right here. Just wait. I know it might seem like forever, but the vast majority of us in 3 years will still be here, but we'll just be a little bit older. So ride it out,
man. So you mentioned mining, Trey. Could you tell us a little bit? There's some people don't even know what that is. Could you tell us a little bit about what that is, why that's kind of valuable to the network, and maybe how it has evolved since since you've been in it.
Yeah. Well, mining in its simplest term is no different than keeping a ledger within a brick and mortar bank. Whether it be Bank of America or your local branch or whoever, Wells Fargo, doesn't matter. All you're doing is running a tally. Now, the information within that tally is it's a bit different because it's crypto. So we're dealing with a blockchain here, and of course, a blockchain, you're just hanging blocks of information, on the chain, the native token of whatever currency you're dealing with. You're tagging it to that node. So you essentially, at its core, you verify, you validate. Well, I don't. The graphics cards do. But verify and you validate your transactions, and then you collect all those transactions. They're ordered into a block, and then whenever you complete a block, you or the network, you'll add the block to the ledger's chain or the blockchain, and then the blockchain will display, that block of transactions on the blockchain or the ledger of that native currency on the node. And of course, when that's done, that's how your payouts happen. It takes a lot of electricity, a lot of power, a lot of hashing power to compete in the space. And of course, whenever that's done, you get paid, or you essentially get something off the top of that native currency. We spent a lot of time mining Ethereum. Like I said, we've mined Bitcoin. We've Grin coin. I mean, you can spend a lot of time Raven coin. You spend a lot of time going through, and sometimes it's just a shift from, the profitability from the aspect of, why are you mining this versus this? Profitability changes. Anytime there's an increase in volume, whether it's sell pressure, buy pressure, whatever, up or down, doesn't matter. Anytime that happens, you make more money because there's more transactions taking place. Buy and sell orders happen, and this thing logs them faster than I can't tell you the exact rate, but it's it's literally hundreds of thousands, in just a short period of time. I don't even remember how many millions it is a day that, come through, the operation in, 24-hour period. It's ridiculous. Somebody, there's a lot more going on in trading and or trade. So, from the back end, you notice these incremental steps, and that's the reason, your halvings and things take place where your mining difficulty increases. And every time there's a halving, your ability to mine essentially, it gets essentially cut in half. Of course, Ethereum had to shift from proof of work, which that would have been where, I had spoken about displaying the work on the native node. Now, in order to continue mining, we've got to stake 32 Ethereum to join in the pool in a minimum. These things are done inside of mining pools, and what it is a group of miners. Some are large scale, some are small scale, but they are competing, jockeying for a spot. It's it's pure capitalism, when it gets right down to it. And these machines are just constantly running, trying to find the more you can stake, the more hashing power you have, the more likely you are to get, a block. And, they happen at a pretty high rate. And, but we're starting to see too with the proof of stake, the burn off for Ethereum. It went deflationary. I don't know. I think it was about 3 weeks ago now. So, price that you see on the market, we're in big time oversold territory. So, I think at some point here, I don't know, Ethereum in and of itself has been, in a sideways motion. I mean, Ethereum essentially has been in like a long consolidation, even with the run up, compared to what, a lot of your major indexes tell you. Ethereum should be worth substantially more than it is, or at least trading for more than it is. So, we're riding it out, and that's looking at it from the back end. That's looking at it from, not just somebody who's buying, selling crypto. That's looking at it from somebody who's, running this operation and saying, hey, what's most beneficial? And typically Ethereum is most beneficial. It's easily traded, and everybody's complaining about gas fees. I can't sit here and tell you all the specifics, but there's a guy that, does a majority of work for me. And people are saying, man, for me to transfer $400 was like $35 or something of that nature. And I was like, man, I can transfer my daily from Ethermine to, my hardware wallet for less than that. And it's a lot more than, $400 or $750 or whatever it is that they said they were trading or that they were trying to transfer. But that comes with knowledge in the space, and that the technical aspect of it that's not my forte. I look at the financial aspect of it.
So let me ask this, because you mentioned obviously you've mined quite a few different native tokens from Bitcoin to Ethereum, but you specifically are mentioning Ethereum as being I guess more profitable. What makes Ethereum a more profitable coin to mine today than, I guess, per se Bitcoin in its mining space? Is it just because of pure transactions, or volume, or the type of mining or the type of work that's being done?
It's a combination of things. For one, the equipment to mine Ethereum is substantially cheaper or less expensive than dedicated miners that have a determined expiration date. So you cut costs there in turnover, but ultimately, when it comes to mining Ethereum and profitability, I mean it's a predetermined formula, and there's actually a website, What to Mine is what it's called, and that you can go in there and put in your energy cost per kilowatt hour. You can put in whatever your supply, whatever your energy consumption is, and it would just directly tell you, hey, this is the most profitable thing. And I don't always know all of the specifics on it, but Ethereum, since the shift to proof of stake, basically, if you had a small operation, you would probably, I can't swear to this, but you probably wouldn't notice so much of a break in your power bill. But whenever you have a bigger operation going. And for the last, however many years now, I'm paying this in power. When the proof of stake hit, a lot of those machines, they don't run unless they get a block of transactions to run. So they just kind of sit there idle. And it cuts down on, or they're not actually idle. They're vying for transactions at that point. But once they start the actual process of transactions, that they'll turn up and start just hashing like crazy. But it cuts the energy consumption. It cut the energy consumption drastically. Right off the top of my head, I can't give you the exact percentage. But I have read, I've never seen it in person, but I have read where some people cut their power bill by over 90%. I don't know if I believe that, but matter of fact, I don't believe that. But it's just a function of output versus your input. And right now, like I said, Ethereum, some of your smaller coins, like with Ethereum, if I can mine X a day, with some of these smaller, not so well known coins, I think Grin at one time do like 23,000 a day or something to that effect. I don't exactly remember. That's been a year and a half ago. But obviously, when you're mining just in that sheer volume, it might have even been more than that. It was like 1 a second. Or more than 1 a second. I don't exactly remember, but you just kind of, if you've got a computer program, it takes the guesswork and the hard work out for me as far as what do I need to do today. But typically, you just keep it mining Ethereum because I do. I mean, I've always been a big believer in Ethereum, and I probably always will be. I just got a lot of faith in Ethereum, and in the short term, everybody can have their own opinions, but what I read the other day, that of all the transactions that take place in blockchain, over 98% take place on Ethereum.
That's pretty. Would that be including all of the kind of coins that's built on top of
it? Yeah. Everything that's built on Ethereum. It's kind of like I was talking about with, the area I've come to. It's getting to the point where the only way we can grow is up. It's the same way with Ethereum. You can grow up, you can create a level, you can create a bridge, a suspended bridge, and you can go from to anywhere you want to go. So for every problem on the Ethereum network, there's also a space for a solution, and not all not all blockchains have that luxury. And I know people, Cardano, ADA. Look, man, Ada's got to show me something. And what I mean by that, I think the idea is brilliant. I think the idea is magnificent. If it wasn't for Ethereum, it wouldn't be an idea, or not as it exists. But right now it's no more important than the stuff written on my shirt. That's all it is a white paper. It's a dream, and I need more than that. I need something with some substance to it. I can't invest in hope. Not in this capacity. I believe in hope, and I believe in faith, and I believe in having dreams. But it's been 3 years, and I was asked just yesterday. I said, how do I felt about it? And I was like, look, to be honest with you, if it can't take off within the next, probably the end of this cycle. Whenever this cycle ends, you know, you can just about chalk it up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it'll be like Dogecoin or Shiba or something like that, but it is going to go down. It's going to go down hard. And I mean, I remember when it was 3 cents, but, you know, people are starting to wise up to the space, you know, knowledge. And then the more people, as opposed to like fanboying in on it and saying, oh, you know, my buddy told me about it. They see it in a TikTok video or whatever. And I'm like, man, you know, I knew that when you were in middle school, kid, you know. so, you know, it's just going to be, you know, a developmental thing for, you know, for them. And right now, you know, I'll trade, but that's it. As far as like holding, the bulk of my holdings, Ethereum, obviously, Bitcoin. You know, I do have faith in the Kyber, you know, the network, the way they've got something functioning. Polkadot, and I know that Polkadot's got a lot of competition, so you invest in the competition too. Somebody's going to win. But right now, you know, if you diversify your portfolio, there's a really good chance that you're going to win, you know, too. So no, it's not even a chance; it's a certainty. I've outside of panic sellers, I've never seen anybody actually ride a wave out and lose. So
let's ask this. I got a couple questions for you, but
yeah.
you know, my brother here is asking. Obviously, we see Polygon being, you know, I get an extension or a level 2 on top of Ethereum. What are your thoughts on Polygon and Matic?
You know, to be honest with you, as a whole, I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that I can, you know, have that conversation, but I can tell you this. All right, Jamel. Yeah. What I can do is I can ask, you know, one of my tech guys and say, hey, look, what we got going on here. How do you see it? And next time, you know, you have a live, we can do the morning crypto, whatever. I don't care if it's in the morning. I can give you more. I've heard enough about it to know that it's likely a really, really promising project. Same with things like Solana, you know, things of that nature. But there's just so many of them to know, you know, in depth. No, I don't spend a whole lot of time, you know, as far as outside of my core few. I do mostly what the chart, and then when one of those guys is like, hey, you know, those guys from a tech standpoint, they make me look bad. I mean, they really do. You know, I'm not ashamed to admit it. You know, I walk in there with those guys, I'm the dumbest person in the room by far. And of course, they would disagree with that. But I think, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, you know, I think this or I think that, because I just don't have enough information to sit here and tell you, you know, this is what I think you can expect. What I would take you know, venture out. If you were to ask me, I would say, yeah, it's definitely a good idea. But as far as knowing in depth and saying, hey, this is how this is going to specifically benefit us, you know, over the next, you know, this cycle, over the next 5 years. No, man, I'm not comfortable, you know, telling you. I'm not just going to tell you something, you know, just to tell you. So that's a good question. I'll find out.
Now, let me ask this as well, Trey. From a mining perspective, do you see things on the back end or on that side of the tracks that kind of helps you solidify your confidence or positioning for any particular protocol or any particular project, where you see things, you know, that most people just simply don't see because they're not mining that kind of gives you a gauge on how the market is going or swinging or anything like that?
Brother, I'm gonna tell you, when you look at it from that, the one thing that you do get an idea of is the just the number of transactions. The dollar volume isn't always incredibly substantial, which is, in my opinion, that's a really good showing, a really good sign that people with just modest means are, they're sprinkling. They're just sprinkling that into that account. And it also could come down to, hey, this thing can be broken out to the 10 millionths or, things of that nature. That they look at this thing and they're like, well, if I just buy a fraction. And then, of course, when you do a buy or sell order, it can take places in fractions. So it takes a lot of confirmations. It might, I don't know, if you were to put in $1,000 order, let's just say, this is arbitrary numbers, but if you were to put in $1,000 order, it might take, you might buy a quarter at $1, a quarter of your order at, $1.04, a quarter of your order at $1.07, a quarter of your order back at $1.03, depending on market fluctuations. I mean, it's fast. I mean, it's so responsive. And I don't know if a lot of people actually realize, that, or sell order, for instance, you put in a sell order, you can win or lose on that in just, a span of a few seconds because of market movement. And then whenever you look at it from the back end and you're like, I didn't think there was that many people in this space. They tell you that there's a lot of transactions that take place. I mean, you can pull up an order book and the thing moves so fast. If you've got a high enough processing rate, it moves so fast you can't even focus on it. You just got to click and hold, look and kind of see. And the spread, in the crypto market's just so small. Typically, I mean, it's probably the smallest. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty certain it's the smallest of any market. So all it takes is one person to kind of tip the scale one way or another. Say, hey, I'll let it go for this. And then all of a sudden you've got all these people buying. I mean, just the other day, just for instance, to give you and this could have been an error. This could have been inexperience. This could have been, for a lot of reasons. But I put a limit sell order in. I can't remember what it was for. And somebody paid like 6.5 cents above, because I mean, that's where I had set the limit. And eventually it did hit that. But they, as a matter of fact, it was like I was, for the reversal, I was like, man, I was starting to get a little bit nervous. I was like, well, I'm not going to chase the market. If it hits it, it hits it. It doesn't. And then 6.5 cents away, somebody, boom. Well, then I also noticed too that in the chart, that thing had a wick, about as long as, I was like, oh, okay. So it like crazy volume. And that's what did it, because that was a psychological point, but that told me right then and there too, hey, this is where people are willing to buy and sell. So, note taken. I'll have to look in my book and see what it was. But, when you're mining, you see that on the back end, and you're like, if I could only make somebody understand, hey, this is what's taking place. You're missing out. Of course, I don't take people to the setup because of, I mean, there's all kinds of security reasons and everything else. But if I could print that, a ledger for a day and say, hey, look, I'll tell you what, you count how many transactions were processed through this operation today. And I'd tell you, I'd give you $100 for each one because you're not going to do it. I'd offer you $1,000 for each one because you're not even going to sniff it, man. And it's crazy. I mean, when you look at a block of transactions, specifically, I don't know how many are actually in that block right now, but it is. I mean, it's a pile, and it's like, the way these things are locked together, hashed out, it's almost incomprehensible. So something is taking place, and then of course you get your off the book trades and things like that too, that they never get posted out on the book for the whoever it was that.
Or like an exchange, doesn't get posted.
Yeah, right. It never gets listed, right? So, we don't know how many of these things have actually been. Well, no, you do. From the back end, you've got a pretty good idea. And bot trading, we see you can always tell. But I think bots the other day, truth be told, because there was a big volume swing. So I know it wasn't off the books. But, you bot trading when this thing's just going crazy one way or another, up or down, and there's no volume, that's a telltale sign. Okay, the bots are at it. And I mean, they do, man. They're AI. They get on the same wavelength. And it's like, God, they get stuck in this gear, and it's like, geez, man. And they'll do it. And it won't even move. It won't even move the needle on the volume. But when actual individuals or an actual, organization or something to that effect is moving the market, that's when you'll see your volume fluctuations. That's how they do this stuff. And it's like a thief in the night, man. It shows up and wow, it hits you. There's no sign. There's no rhyme or reason, and you can see it, in Forex trading. Bot trading is legal. I mean, and I've run a bot before just to experiment, and it's interesting. It is, but realistically, I did it to see, kind of how, all these different programs, and I mean they are, man. They're on the same wavelength. AI is really good. It's kind of scary good.
Let me ask this, man, because I think that you obviously come from mining experience, but also I would say trading experience as well. And we just had some fluctuation in the market, had some short term, volatility to the downside. And I think it was probably last Friday that we saw this huge overnight. I don't know how huge it was, but an overnight dip that just was unnatural, what I call an unnatural dip. But these things that happen, they really impact, accounts. And I really want to talk a little bit about liquidation because, we see traders come into the market and then they decide that it's not just good enough for them to trade their own money, but now they want to leverage trade and, and use collateral traded in 10x and 100x trades and stuff like that. And I've kind of always tried to stay away from margin as much as possible, just because you're using debt in order to trade.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like this that if you are on the wrong side of that trade, it's hard to recover. So talk to me about liquidation, what that is, and what kind of some of the things that you've seen.
When prime example, and that's what they were doing. The other night was there's no doubt in my mind. Anybody, when the when the dates were up for whether it's futures, whatever gap they're filling here on this thing, anywhere there's that big gap in the chart. That's where there's a lot of leverage, a lot of buys on leverage. And so, the goal is on this thing is people are betting on, the moon. And I don't know what the moon is. Everybody says to the moon. I'm like, I don't know exactly how high you want it to go, but kind of have to be satisfied. But anyhow, the other night when that took place, that's exactly what they did. Every stop loss got hit through the book, because the higher the leverage, the tighter, the margin. I mean, and it's sometimes it's so small. I'm like, these people, there's no way they understand what they're getting themselves into. Then they get wiped out. They get their crypto taken, and if they have any left for cash, it's converted to cash to cover the difference. And that, that's exactly what happened. And I said, at some point here, we're going to get a really good bounce. They're going to do it again, because you got people that are, I don't know, man. Some people just don't learn. I don't trade. I'm not a believer in carrying debt. I don't trade on leverage. I've never done a leverage trade, and it's for that reason, because I can sit here and look at a chart and say, hey, you can do it as well. Say, hey, we're going here. Hey, we're going there, and be pretty confident in it. But I looked around, and I've asked people who are far better traders than I am. Hey, hey, did you see that? No. And especially not as quickly as it did. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of billions, in the span of, it was minutes. And, they took your money. They took your money, they took your crypto, and they ran. And now everything that you had, he has. He's got it back. And, for me, average Joe traders couldn't have pulled that off. This is something. And there was a good volume swing too, which is the reason, I'm inclined to think that it was an organization, or an institution, making that kind of move. And when it happened, a buddy of mine, he called me and he was like, man, don't tell me that Wall Street isn't in this heavy. He's like, those guys are good. I'm like, oh yeah, they're real good. They are sitting in a boardroom 24 hours a day, and they're making a lot of decisions. There's a lot more at play, a lot more involvement at a high level than I think people understand. And like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was, some kind of play that a bot, but typically, volume doesn't move. You see these big pumps, you see these big dumps, no volume. It's a bot. It's bot trading. And if you see the pumps and dumps, crazy swings in volume, that's physical trading. And this had all the signs of physical trading, but a lot of that physical trading that took place was just the ceiling or the floor falling out, and these people having their positions liquidated by triggering their losses. And at that point, it will fall until it clears them all out. Now I think, somebody asked me, well, where are we going? $43,400 roughly is my best guess. It's going to get it all. They will get every dollar of it. And, you've spoken about it before, about, filling the gap. Bitcoin and crypto, they like to fill the gaps. They like to fill those CME futures gaps. They like to do this. They like to fill all these gaps. Well, that's what this is. This gap where these people have high leverages, that thing's going to go back to 0.0. Whatever 0.0 is, you're going to start, and you're going to, it will, because there's so much money at those levels. There's so much money at those levels to take. Realistically, it's healthy for the market because it gets rid of, the debt within the market. I guess you could say it's deflationary. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that's going to happen. So if somebody asks me, hey, what kind of leverage? Zero. And I know, there are better traders that will sit there and tell me, yeah, I would do it with 5x, 10x, whatever. I'm like, no. No, if you're doing that, you can't afford to be trading anyway. You just buy it and hold it. Buy it and hold it and just keep adding to it, keep seasoning, keep seasoning that pot until one day you wake up and you've got a bag full of coins that decided to take a 22% jump in the last week, whatever it is. And maybe if you want to do some trading, then take some profits off the board, reinvest the rest, but you've got to have a substantial bag to be able to, we talked about this, with like, getting to 100K, getting to this, getting to that. And, once you get to, I always tell people all the time, 150K to me is like the magic number. Like that's where big changes start to occur. But if you don't have 150K, like I was telling somebody the other day, 2% of $1 million. I mean, man, what do you want to do today? I mean, that's how easy it is. And we see a lot of 2% moves, but you've got, people understand they've got to put in the time, and they've got to keep funding these accounts because, you get to 100%, 2% of 100 grand, 2% move is, that's a big deal. And once you get to 100.5, man, then you've got, I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the 2% move gives you that extra grand to play with, but it gives you, it definitely gives you more options at that point. That's always been kind of my contention. And I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody that, that it's the truth or that's the way, but that's always the number I tell people to set your sights for. When you hit that level, you're ready, and it's pretty easy to see the growth there. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely agree. And it's hard maybe for some people to see it, especially if they've never seen it.
yeah,
And we're also talking about a space where many people simply haven't, the space of investing period that many haven't dove into other than maybe a 401k or something like that. So it's an interesting thing to kind of get into a space like this and then realize like this is where money games are really being played. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
this is where this is a whole different ball game in a sense.
It is, and because duration, investment, period. I mean, you can shorten your retirement plan up. You can shorten your years of working for the man substantially. And I here recently I was on a different channel, and somebody says, "Well, what do you think about a 401k?" It was in the comments, and I was like, "You want me to tell you the truth, or you want me to lie to you?" Well, I'm too straight of a shooter, in my opinion. And this is not to get anybody down or get anybody bummed, but in my opinion, 401k is nothing more than an insurance policy to your employer that you're going to show up for the next 35, 40 years. And the reason is they cap everything that you can invest. You're guaranteed to be able to retire at 62 and a half if you do it, or 59 and a half, or whatever it is. And then by the time you get to that point, you're no better off than you were when you started because you didn't grow, at the rate of inflation. And people are like, yeah, but inflation was only like, X amount over that time. And I'm like, absolutely incorrect, man. If you bought that lie, we're going through it right now. You look around, you look at prices. Prices are up way more than any 2.4% or whatever number they're telling you. It's lip service. And that's what that's just my take on it. And that was one of the things that really got me just kind of fed up when that, I can, we're not going to go there, but I can almost tell you when it hit me. And I was like, man, this is stupid. And I mean, literally that was the conversation I had with myself. I said, hey, look, only thing that it contributed in this 401k is doing is for me, going through this process of telling him, hey, I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's what it is. It's an insurance policy, because once you have a substantial sum there, they know you want to grow that sum, but you can't grow it any faster than they allow you. And I was like, man, you're handcuffed. So that was when I first started into like personal fidelity investment accounts and things. That was before I really, really got into the crypto space. And I was like, man, this right here, I can put this. Man, back then I didn't have enough money to really, at that time, it didn't seem like it really mattered. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna feed this thing, because that's just the way. And it paid dividends, it did. And but it's just like I said, whenever you compare it to a 401k, your personal investments, whether it be there or in the crypto space, they've already even got a predetermined series of funds for you to invest in a 401k. And the reason is they can control the growth rate. They know exactly what they've got you for. I've never heard of anybody contributing to a 401k retiring at 34. I've never done it. It doesn't matter if you're making $500,000 a year or $50,000 a year or $10,000 a year. You can all your cap. It's just hard for me to get down with that, and I just never gelled with the idea of somebody else telling me, hey, this is how you do this. And I was like, man, you broke. You don't know what you're talking about. And, I kind of made that decision that, hey, find a way, make a way. There's a lot of trees out there. Sometimes you got to cut some down to make a road, man. That's what I did.
Absolutely, man. The interesting thing about but the interesting thing about these products that they have is that many times that may be the only thing that people know, but even knowing that that's a vehicle, most people still don't understand. They don't even take the time to really learn about that investment vehicle for them to optimize it. So that's what I found when I was in corporate America. That became my first service. It was really teaching people about their own 401k or IRA or 403b or whatever it is, which kind of led to kind of my growth and development as an investor and educator and things like that. So I definitely see that point where if you were to take control of your own retirement, you would probably be much better off in the long run, after you go through your bumps and bruises of learning the game. You probably retire 10, 15 years ahead of the curve if you were to put it into your own hands. But most people just simply aren't confident enough to do that, or won't take the time to learn. So that is what it is.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to do. It's just hard to make somebody or convince somebody of that which doesn't interest them, that they have no desire for, that there's no, the want to. And for me, it just, frankly, it sucked so bad. It was soul killing. And I was like, man, there's just got to be a better way. And so, I did. I gritted it out like a lot of people did. And I started a little hustle here, a little hustle there. And I did. I learned how to, run, develop, grow a business, how to, use a systems approach to these things and say, okay, this is how we do things around here. And then whenever I was telling people, hey, all right, now this is how we do it, that's when I realized I was like, man, I'm the boss now. And I kind of like this, and it's not that I like being bossy. It's just that, hey, it's the pride of, getting over that hump. And, it just kind of culminated from there. And, I just kept feeding it. And then, everything just grows, but you've got to want to. Like, you've truly got to want to. I mean, that's sitting around for me and just being mind-numbingly bored. Even though I'm active, but like, I mean, it's like just in a fog. Like my brain turned to ice, and I didn't think clearly. I wasn't with it, and I was just miserable. I was like, no, man, I can't keep doing this. Like, this is unhealthy for me. So yeah, I mean, I did. I just went and found a way. I like, in my opinion, from the shoes that I was in, like I had no choice. I mean, it had gotten to the point where it was like, you'd go in there and you'd just be like, literally going on the job looking for a fight, like hoping a fight broke out. And I was like, man, this isn't good, because I mean, these people, personally, no, I don't have any problem with them, but I've got to have a vent. And walking around carrying that, man, it's no good. It's no good. And, I didn't know how to do a lot of the things that I do now. I had no idea how to do it then, but I found things that I enjoyed. I focused, my energy and my time. And, I'd tell anybody like, hey, look, if you don't want to get into this space or this space or this space, that's fine. But man, if you're good at something, there's something you're good at, work at it, chip away at it. I mean, at some point you've got to get to the point where it's like, 80-20 go, where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm 80% sure I can do this, and just take that leap. And have faith in yourself, because, if you don't have any faith in yourself, you already got enough haters. I mean, if you don't think you've got any haters, start having a little success, and you find out just how many people are pulling against you. I mean, they are legit pulling against you. And, you've got to screw what they think, man. Like, you've got to do this for you. If you're the one sitting there every day, just, wasting away in despair and misery, there's nobody can change it but you, and if you can't make up your own mind to change it, nobody else is going to make it up for you, because they'll let you sit there and wallow in it. That's when they enjoy you. Whenever you're doing well, you're doing for yourself, man, that's where you find out all your haters at. I actually have a shirt right here somewhere that says "Where all my haters at." But, I mean, man, I tell anybody, man, invest in yourself, because that's what this is. Whether you're buying into crypto or you're buying into, a conventional market, you're still investing in yourself. Give yourself that much credit. Don't let it own you, man. You've got to seize the day, seize the moment. Every opportunity gives itself, and you just get better and better and better. You realize, you recognize, become a fine-tuned machine. And anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, you can get there.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'll tell you what, Brother Trey, man, that's definitely inspiring, man. Invest in yourself, and definitely a pleasure to have you come back on and share some of your progression, and talk to us a little bit about mining and liquidation and this whole crypto thing. And we're gonna keep it going, man. We're gonna keep educating people, and making people aware of what's going on in this market. And and give people some hope and faith that they too can use this vehicle to progress and and take their finances and their life to a whole nother level, man.
Right, man. I mean, go out and be successful. How you define success is up to you. We go out here and make it a point. Like, hey, let's win every day, man. Like, don't let other people rain on your parade. I mean, like I said, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Well, if they try to rain on your leg, rain on you, just pee on their leg, man. I mean, yeah, that's the way you got to approach this thing, man. You've got to take control of the situation, man. I encourage anybody, and Jamel, I will ask about it. I'll keep an eye. Matter of fact, I got your stuff here. I'll DM you or whatever if you don't mind, or I'll just post it, out and I'll put it on the page and tag you in it, whatever. However we're gonna go about this is fine. I'll make sure that I find out and have somebody that from the technical aspect where they sit down and they can actually interpret this paper from start to finish. And say, hey, bro, what am I looking at here? I'll let you know.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, beautiful people, man, that's what we got. So we'll get a little bit of information on Polygon Matic, and Jamel is actually in the group, so I'm pretty sure we'll be able to have that conversation. But
yeah, absolutely.
Man, Brother Trey, thanks so much for joining us here tonight. This is a special broadcast for our Money Talks edition on Financial Freedom Friday, guys. So hopefully you guys got something from it. You take away from our conversation tonight. A lot of technical jargon, but it's well worth the listen. And there's some other things going on right now in this space where you have all these CEOs talking to Congress as well. That has taken, I think they're done now, but that was some very interesting dialogue as well. So definitely want to encourage you guys, if you're in the crypto space, to go and listen to those discussions to kind of help you to understand the dynamics, the aspects, the vastness of this particular space, and just increase your knowledge so you can kind of understand things. But that's our show here tonight. Again, Brother Trey, thanks so much for coming on. For everybody else, I want you guys to remember that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's keep building as we climb together. You guys have a wonderful night, and we will catch up with you soon.